Good morning, everybody. Just want to do a quick live. We had some rain here. It's supposed to rain again, so we had some thunderstorms that came through, and I'm going to be heading to the shop here for the rest of the day. So I'm here this morning. Ellie here behind me. We're setting up to kind of do a continuation of the last live that we did with her, lefts and rights. We're working on casting her left and right. Now it's a little windy out, so I apologize for that. It might be a little more difficult to hear, and it's a weird time, so I understand that it's a strange time to be going live. I'm trying to figure out better times and more consistent times to help you guys out. So Sam is in, Steve Aiken joined, Cody Miller, Christy Isker, welcome guys. So this isn't going to be a long one either. I'm just going to work with Ellie, and we're going to work on her lefts and rights. You can see I've got my little tripod set up to do this. If you watched the first one, if you haven't watched the first one, probably go back and watch the first one. It'll make more sense to you. Justin, welcome Justin. Chris Borgman joined. I will say that, good morning April, I did do handling this weekend. I was up north this weekend, had good reception in spots, not so good in others. I did work on lefts and rights with Ellie, and I worked on some back casts, and I had a really nice setup. It was a field edge, so it was a long edge of a field where it was a wheat field where it met to a kind of a grass or CRP field, and then it also had chiseled corn. So it was a bunch of straight edges, and it actually made like a cross, like the letter T. So I used that this weekend, and I really liked it. My setup here is like a T, and it's not even that. I don't have a straight line. It's just my yard to where it hits this wood line, but it's a relatively straight edge from there to there, and that's all I'm doing right now is going. This is to the right. This is to the left. Now again, the camera is reversed when I flip this around, so everything is backwards. And I can't stress that enough because that's got to be confusing. I didn't really realize it until I watched them a few times. Jeff Trudell joined in. Good morning. So what I did this weekend was different in that I had a true cross, and what I was able to do was stand here, have Ellie sit here. I'd back cast her into this wheat field, but I would also be able to line her along a straight edge here and a straight edge here. So I worked straight lefts and rights, and I also worked back casting on those. Here I won't be able to, which is fine because my focus is rights and lefts. I'm going to cast to the left, I'm going to cast to the right along this narrow, little short, straight edge, which is going to help. Jay Roberts, welcome. Dakota is in, welcome Dakota. So I am going to do this quickly with her. It's not going to take us a long time. One thing that you'll notice if you guys watched the first one with Ellie, she struggled to make turns. So again, now the thing is completely backwards. This is my right side and this is my right hand. This is my left hand. So when I turn around and I cast her, that's going left, this is going right. Looks opposite, I know. But when I was sending her to the left, she would be facing the camera and she would turn this way and then go that way. That was the first time she'd ever done it. So her footwork was a little off, and she didn't, it was just totally new to her. She did the same thing this weekend. When I would cast her left, she would turn to the right, so she's facing you guys, facing me on that side. She would want to go this way, but she would turn this way. Just for whatever reason, her instinct is to turn to the left, to this way, to go to her left. So she was turning and making a 180, turning and making a 180. Not worried about that. I'll fix it later. Really, all I want to do is get her to understand go one way or go the other. And I'm going to use as little, when I'm up close and early on like this, I'm going to use as little as needed to get her to understand. So if I have to physically move, Vicky said that she fixed her dog by taking a step ahead of time and then casting. And that might work really well. What I don't want to do is I don't want to give her too many clues yet. I want her to be able to catch on to stuff, because when I have a feeling that at some point I'm going to run into issues with her. Maybe it's at a distance, certain point where becomes a little faded. It's not so strong for her casts, and then I might have to physically get myself moving in addition to just a hand. So I'm going to take her, I'm going to set her up similar to how I did it last time. I'm also going to learn, I watched the last video, I'm going to try to stand on one side or the other so that you can see her. So I'm going to always put her in front of that post, this post right there. That's where I'm going to always put her so that I can move this thing over and me stand out of the way. So I'm hoping that'll work too. And then I'll shift it over when we cast to the other side. But what I'm going to do today, usually I cast her that way first. That's what I've always been doing. And it's really neat because she's sitting right here and she's already learning. When I put my hand out like that, her head just went like this. She's starting to read off of this. So it all goes back to when they're little puppies. I recall them, I line them. All that stuff is connected to our hands. So eyes and hands, I'm getting them from it. So today, just as a test to see if I can get her footwork better, I'm going to go that way first. It seems like that's her weakness. So I'm going to move this. Actually, I want to move it this way. Hear the turkeys gobbling? That won't work. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to figure out the best way to hopefully show it. And then what I'm going to try to do, there, and I'll cast her this way. You'll see her. She's going to go across my body is the only thing. Is there a better way to do that? The other thing is, stop her here and send her. That might be the way I do it. So that's how I'm going to start it out. So I'm going to put her in front of that post. Ellie, heel. I'm trying to think about a better way of doing this ahead of time so that I don't have to deal with the phone as much. I'm going to try to not talk to you guys as much, talk to her with hopes of having a clearer connection and eliminate the static that I think is formed by me doing this in between trainings. So, or in between, during this session. So I'm going to get her attention and then work her on this cast. Good girl. Come on. Good girl. Hold. Hold. Good. Good. I'm going to move this. I don't like it. I also am going to try to get it where you can see the bumper. Gosh, I just can't figure out the best way to do that. Here. Now, gotta talk about that one, because there's a reason why I have to fix the feet. If you notice that, if you notice that her turn that way, she's facing me, she's supposed to go that way, she turns this way. And what did it do? It's going back to her back cast. I think that's the reason she's doing it. I think about it now, and every time I backcast her, whether I do my right hand or my left hand, almost always she pivots this way. So she's in this habit now of pivoting to go back, to go back, to go back. Makes sense on this one because when she pivoted and rolled around, she actually went back. She went into the woods and started hunting, kind of at an angle that way. So this is where I need to be a lot clearer with the perimeter. This is why I'm doing it up against a fence or a line. I'm actually going to flip this around. I'm going to do it from this way. Come here, Ellie, here. This is a much clearer perimeter. You're going to see this. That's it. So I'm going to spin this around because I really want to fix this before it gets to be too much of a habit. So now you're going to see, I'm going to spin this around to the front of my house. And she's looking around because she's not quite sure what's going on. It's a very clear perimeter. She's not going back anywhere. She'll run into the fence there. So this one, I'm going to send her this way. So I want you to be able to see that way. Let's see if this helps. I don't know that you can see her. See that? Good. Here. Good. Hold. Dave. Good. That's what I want to get rid of. I want to get rid of that little turn. So I'm going to move a little closer. Notice what I'm doing. Different. Yep. Look at that. Hold. Yeah. Good. Good, right here. Hold. Hold. Very good. Help her as much as I can. Here. See how her head just wants to keep going? Good girl. That time took a little correction. Good. Good. Good girl. So I'm slowing way down. Hold. I'm slowing way down on my get outs. And I'm really dragging her and giving her a get out here. Good girl. Good girl. Good. Good girl. With each one a little bit more confident. Good. I'm also squaring her up a little bit more. I'm not cheating her so much. Good girl. Good. Hold. Good, Dad. I'm not going to do this forever, but big differences, and the biggest difference came after I corrected her. I slowed myself down, and she took it. But that one time I went really slow, get out, and she spun around slow, and I went and she corrected, and then she went the right way. So that her making that mistake and me actually having to correct the mistake, the wrong turn, clicked apparently a little bit. So now I'm slowing down, and instead of me facing her completely this way, I'm slightly quartering her back towards me, because I'm just going to work to eventually get her to be back up here and comfortable going without having to spin around. Wait, a couple more. Good. You can just see the confidence in it. Good. Good girl. Oh. So that's it. I'm not going to do it anymore. I think that's just enough for now. So I'm going to see what questions might have come up there, but it changed my plan. My plan wasn't to do that, but my plan was to work on rights and lefts, kind of the same as we did last time. Now, I think she gets the concept of it. Problem she's not getting is, and the habit that I'm forming, come on. So in, right back to her place. The habit that I'm forming that I want to avoid before it gets too far, because I think she's relatively sharp. She's a real sharp dog. I gotta get my boots off. She's real sharp and she's real strong. She takes signals really nicely because we've been doing backs for so long. And so she does that pretty naturally. But now that we've gone to rights and lefts, she's catching on to it really quickly. And the problem that I have, or the thing that I want to avoid, is the habit that she's gotten into with turning one direction. I'm gonna take that bowl away. Turning one direction, because that last time she turned that direction, she spun back into the woods. I don't want to start confusing rights and lefts with back. So I got to get crisper, and I got to make sure she understands. When I mean left, I mean left. When I mean right, I mean right. And when I mean back, it's straight back. I don't want a dog to get in the habit of a combination of back and left, so all of a sudden they're going, one of these. That's super round. That's not very crisp. It's diluting everything and making a lot of gray area. So because this is just the third time, but it became a problem with that cast to the left, I'm going to fix it. So we just backed way up. We moved a location. We flipped it around to make it an easier physical barrier. She can't go backward. I was doing it here. I physically turned her and helped her out to face the right direction, so the footwork was a little less cumbersome. As she got better, I started out having success with her facing, square to me, not square to me, 90 degrees to me. As she got a little better, I slowly quartered her back towards me till I got to her about maybe at a 45 on those last couple, and I shortened the distance so that I didn't have these long retrieves. I made them 5-footers, so I get more out of her. I think I got more out of her focus-wise. It was quicker, it was more repetitions, it was more consistent. So we just boom, 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 and we slowly got them turning a little bit. So made progress. We'll continue to work on it. So that's the interesting part about us not doing live with Spries. I'm still going to do live with Spries, but you guys are jumping right in with where I'm at with Ellie right now. So you're going to see literally the things that I'm working on with her to get her ready for this fall. My plan is to do some upland and some waterfall with her. She'll also shed and track for us. So I'm going to go through here quick. April Marie joined in. Well, good morning, April. Jackson Schulke got in. First time watching live. Joe, welcome, Joe. First time catching a live one. So we've been doing them for a while, guys. If you're new to these and you like them, do me a favor, share them. My hope is to kind of grow this. So, and by Joe coming in, this is what's going to make this thing better. Get my puppy in July and have been watching the past videos. Great videos. Thanks, Joe. Set the video up on the opposite side that you're casting from. Okay, so he gave me a tip to get a better view. I'll read that and try to figure. You could see I was really stumbling around with that. I watched the last one, and there was a lot of times where the dog would run through and you couldn't see it, and you miss a lot of the little fine details if I don't set it up right. You blew the whistle and my dog came to sit. Yep. There's conditioned response. Check cord. No reason for a check cord, Christopher. Check cord will get in the way of this. I don't need to physically drive her or physically lead her. I need her to just start understanding what I want from her. Detailed physical stuff with her. Now it's footwork. Now I need her feet to function. It's awkward. It's clumsy. Apparently, for whatever reason, she's used to turning one way on a back. That's how she wants to turn every time. So now I have to get her comfortable It's like a kid that's right-handed. I have to get them comfortable dribbling with their left hand so that it doesn't become awkward, doesn't feel weird, feels just as good as the right. So that's what we need to do. Check cord right now, I think, would muddy waters. And I'm not a big fan of check cords. I think they get in the way. That's why I want control at heel, on lead, off lead, and then I can start working at distances. But if I don't have them right here, I won't have them out there. I have earbuds in, and my coworkers are going crazy trying to figure out where the whistle's coming from. Hey, you got a good job, Jeff. Doug Mandrich, good morning. That turkey must be close. It was. Allison Kostrava joined in. Welcome, Allison. I like the way you alter the situation and inhibit success. Been working on that myself for training. Sometimes I find myself trying to force success in it the way I want it done. Yes, leads to a lot of frustrations in myself and my dog. So Dakota, you're right. This fix may work sometimes, may not work at other times. So then I got to go, how can I fix this? I didn't plan on doing any of that stuff. I didn't plan on having the issue on the back wall. I've never had a problem where the dog turns the wrong way or turns the one way consistently and really doesn't want to do it. So how do I change it? Well, I'm just trying to think where is the issue. I reverse engineer this problem and I go, why is she turning one way or the other? It made sense to me why she's doing it because now that I think about it, she always turns that way to go back. So that's a habit of hers. I formed the habit. Might not have been the right habit, but I wasn't worried about what way she was turning to go back as long as she went back. Now that I started adding lefts and rights, now I've got a dog that's going halfway back, halfway left. And because of the turn is why I'm having the issue. So now I have to fix the turn in order to fix the issue of rounding and not going straight back or not going straight left. And the other thing I'm going to have to balance is now I'm going to start going left and right. I got to be careful I don't fade out my back. So this is all stuff that I got to keep in the back of my mind. The more I get her really good at left and right, guess what she's going to have a tendency to do? Anticipate left or right. Forget about back. I go left or right. And the problem with that is usually when you go left or right, they make a find. So they'd rather go left and right because that's closer to the retrieve typically than back. So mentally, that's what they're thinking about. As soon as I go left or right, I get a retrieve. Why would I go back? I'll go left or right. No, that's why back has to be there first, then lefts and rights. Because back fades quicker. So now I'm going to focus on left and right, and inevitably back will fade. So then I'm going to have to go back to back and sharpen that. It's all about balance. Everything we do is doing that. Melissa Stone joined in. Cole joined in. Good morning, guys. Bose, she's been catching herself doing it. Now she's catching herself. Yeah. So I did see that too. You read it in her body language. A couple times her head was the clue of which way she was going to turn. There was a couple times there where I was going to cast her this way, and her head was going like this. I knew she was going to spin. So I had that one time I actually did it so slow that she went like this, and I went, and she went back like this, and then I slowed her, and she went like this, real hesitant, and I said, good, and she went. That mistake might have had to be made and caught and corrected in order for her to understand what I really want out of her. So, little baby steps. When do you start whistle training? Do you recommend a specific whistle? Jail and Richard, I do. I start whistle training with Spry now, recall. She's coming to the whistle. It's just an extension after she understands what recall is. We add in the whistle. Now that we're doing heel work, she'll start to sit to the whistle. I haven't started that with her yet, but I will soon. So when do you start? When it fits into where you are with heel. I think recall is early on whistle work. I start them when they're little puppies and don't understand what a whistle is. They don't understand what recall is. They just follow me, and I walk around and peep the whistle. Habit is being formed to follow him when I am following him, I hear a whistle. That's classic conditioning. No different than hunt command. Hunt commands doesn't start hunting. It starts with food, and with these dogs, it started in my kitchen on the little floor mat. It started at Cabela's on their carpet. So it just happened to be where I was when I started those commands. So I started early, and the recommended whistle, and we're going to have I've had a lot of people ask about the whistles. We actually are. They're being shipped right now. We are going to offer them. We've branded them, Dogbone. They're not I didn't invent them, but we're just logoing them. It's a 211.5 style P-less whistle. We'll have them available probably in the next week or two at the latest. KM Cutter's got in. Hey, KM. Amber Balanik is in. How are you? Carrie Sherrill, how are you from up in Door County? Angie is in. Nicole is in. Okay, you answered my question. Why not start with left or right? Back first, because back will fade. You use back in the field more than you use right or left. So back really has to be strong. Good morning, Robin. What are the whistle blasts for each command and action? I give them a single blast to stop them. I give them beep, 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 recall to come to me. Multiple blasts, beep, 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 that's coming to me. Single blast, beep, or beep. One blast is stop. I usually beep. It's just, that's how, because my dogs at a distance will be coming hot, and I get on the whistle, and they start to slow, and I stop it with a beep by the time they're done. So that's why that's the habit I'm into as well. But while I'm healing them, I'll be real short. Beep, walk away, beep, walk away, beep, walk away. So sit to a whistle, single blast, recall is multiple. We incorporate a beep, 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 kind of at a little bit of a space, but multiple, and that's a hunt command for my dog at a distance. When they're too far away from me to hear me, I'll beep, beep, beep. That's when I get them into an area of fall, or get them into area of something that they're going to find. So I use that. I do deet deet to turn the dogs, bend the dogs when quartering. So if my dog gets to we're not here yet with Spry, but when we get to it, we'll show it. When we get to an edge, I go beep beep. It gets her attention. She looks at me, and I'm going the other way. So now she moves and changes quartering. So it's a quartering thing. 45 degree, boom, boom, left, right, left, right. I turn them on a beep, 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 beep. So when I do it enough that down the road I go beep, beep, and they're going to turn to the left. Beep, beep, they're going to turn to the right. Beep, beep. So I can work a dog down through a field that way. That's what I use the whistles for. And I like them because they save on your voice. And they don't flush game. The peed whistles, they rattle a little bit. They're not as natural sounding. They'll have a tendency, if you're a bird hunter, they'll flush game better, more than the little peeless whistle. Charlie joined in late. Guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. I got through your questions. Again, second installment of our lefts and rights with Ellie. I thought she did well. She struggled. We didn't do what I thought we were going to do when we started out. She struggled with stuff, and I had to figure out how to fix that. And now it became clear to me why it happened. It became a little bit clearer on how I can get her to maybe start reversing that habit. And so now I build on that. So tomorrow, instead of, or even if I had time later today, which I probably won't, but if I got to the point where the next time I work on lefts and rights with her, which I need to be consistent with it now, because I started it, I got to be relatively consistent. The next time I do it with her, I will probably start out with just these lefts and just get her footwork down. And once I get that fixed, then I'll go back to this drill that I was doing in the beginning, and I'll go lefts and rights. And I'll try to make sure that that footwork that I specifically work on up close and slow motion and really controlled, that transfers to the lefts and rights at a little bit more of a distance, with a little bit more distance in the retrieve. So I want to get to what I was going to try to do to start out with, but I realized if I keep doing it, I'm going to continue to form the habit that I don't want. So I have to stop that, fix the first problem, and then take it back to there. So it's a classic example of what I think a lot of you guys run into, trying to do something, trying to get somewhere, but having an issue. So how do I keep going? Just keep trying to go? No, you have to figure out why the problem is, fix it, and then go back to it. How would you differentiate from a whoa whistle and a sit whistle? When you say whoa, are you talking pointing dogs? Whoa? So I'm not sure what you mean by that, April. A sit whistle is a single whistle. Beep, or beep. Beep is like me saying ah, or ah, ah, ah. It's just longer or shorter. It just depends on how my dog takes it. So it's going to be completely dependent on the circumstance. When I'm on heel, they're right next to me, and I want to get a sharp, crisp stop and sit. I beep, but you'll see that it's really controlled. It's real easy to get the reaction really quickly. I don't I could drag those out, but it doesn't make sense because I'm so close to them. I don't need to drag them out. When they're at a great distance, it takes time for sound to travel. So I use it like an extended beep, and I sit them right down. And then I'm going to be on to the next. So I don't think it matters. I think I use it differently in different situations depending on distance, depending on the dog, depending on how emphasized I need to be. If I really need to get something, I might get on them really quick and sharp. And that is it's kind of my whistle's way of having tone. So it's easy for me to have flexion, I guess would be the word, in my voice. I can change it. I can change the dynamic of it by using my voice. A whistle's a whistle. It's like an instrument. So the way I can change my oomph, whether soft or sharp or really quick, or the way I change that is by my pressure on it. And it can be long and soft, or it can be really sharp and beep, right to the point. So that's the way I use a whistle, similar to how I would use my voice and my tone. So it's a way of getting tone out of a whistle when a whistle's a whistle. Makes the same sound, right? No, you can play it like an instrument. I suppose my worry would be she would sit on a point if I used one shot. Yeah, so with pointing dogs, pointing dogs are a little bit different, especially if you're using them as pointers. A lot of the stuff I'm talking about, I'm going to use with retrievers, and sit is used a lot. I use sit a lot. With the pointing dogs, I'm not a pointing dog guy, but I've talked with and I know enough pointing dog guys to realize the differences. A lot of times, pointing dog guys don't want their dogs sitting ever. They want them to stay on point and steady. I don't care if they're on their feet or if their butt's on the ground. If they're a pointing dog, I really want the behavior to be similar, though. Steady. So a retriever, steady to sit. A pointing dog, steady to point. So the whoa with a pointing dog is a lot like a sit for a retriever. It's just they're up on all four. So if you're looking to whoa your dog with a whistle, I don't know. I don't know how often that would come in. I think you can stop them to a whistle. No different than you can stop them to that whoa. I think there's a reason why they say whoa, 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 whoa. Like I just said whoa 3 different times in 3 different ways. And it would probably affect a dog 3 different ways as far as how they would respond to it. So the whistle, I think, is the same thing. So I think you could. I think you could train them to do it. I don't know if you want to or not. Usually you're not whoaing dogs at part of the thing about the whistle is it allows me to extend distance. It just penetrates a lot further. It's audible at greater distance. So I don't know how often the pointing guys are whoaing dogs at great distances where they are outside of a voice recognition anyway. But yes, initially to slow and stop, last to say, hey, stop. So again, I think it's you use that whistle like an instrument. You can vary the impact of it. So, all right, guys, I am going to cut out. I'm going to head to the shop. So you guys have a great day. That was just a quick one that we tried to sneak in with Ellie in between the raindrops, and I'm glad we got it done. We'll continue to work on it. So keep following us. If you guys think we got a couple new people in this time. If you think this is stuff that will help other people, if you think you got someone in mind that it might help, whether it be Live with Spry, some of the Ellie stuff, some of the older dog stuff, we've got a few things that we're working on too that might be interesting coming up here soon. So you guys, if you can help me, share away, grow them, take part in it. So be active with it. Live doesn't work if we don't do it interactively. It loses the effect of being live. So you guys have a great day. We'll talk with you soon.